Greetings and welcome to Mount Olympus. I am Hercules Invictus, and today we will travel down unique Olympian paths. Today we will explore and learn more about the celestial path of Ammon Dunkin. Greetings, Ammon. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you, Hercules. How are you today?
I'm doing good. It's been a busy day. I spent my morning teaching mythology through interactive storytelling to two groups of students. Uh,
Nice.
and then looking forward to tonight's interview with you, and then I have another interview afterwards. So it's been a
Wow.
pretty busy day.
Yeah.
Now, you are one of the most unique people I know in terms of your spirituality, and
Mm,
your spirituality over the years has flowered and matured and gone through various phases. We had the sixth revelation. We had Maitreya's mission. Now we have the Azure Angels. So the cosmic mythology that you've followed and you've so generously shared is very rich and very multifaceted and touches upon
mm.
a lot of different categories of belief and spiritual
Yeah.
growth. So I guess before we start with the Olympians, why don't you share a little bit about your journey and yourself?
Okay, well, thank you for the opportunity here, Hercules. I know your background is varied as well.
Yes.
And I think that makes us a lot more open to a lot of interpretations. You know, a lot of the gods are the same throughout
Mhm.
different religions and spiritual traditions. And that's what I've found in my journey, is that there are so many celestial entities that are working with us and that have worked with us, humanity for eons and eons and eons, and we've given them different names, different titles, different job titles, and things like that. So I embrace a lot of different spiritual traditions and a lot of different religions. I started out in the Christian church. I was baptized in the First United Methodist Church. My parents took me to the Methodist Church regularly, and then we kind of tapered off once my brother went to college. Tapered off from that, but when I was 13 years old, I remember sitting in church, and I was listening to the minister give a sermon, and of course it was about Jesus. And I don't know, I just got an epiphany during that particular service that I was to take um, a real special spiritual path, and that a lot of my spiritual path would entail um, studying other things, not rather, but studying other things in addition to the Christian religion. So when I went to college, I had an English teacher, an English professor, who gave us as a required reading Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman.
Excellent book. I love that book.
Oh, it is. It's fabulous. And I read it constantly for years and years and years, and I tried to embody some of the things that Dan Millman taught in the book through, the journey through the character Dan, who went to Berkeley, and he had a guru of sorts named Socrates.
Socrates, yes.
Yeah, of all names. And so I tried to become a vegetarian like Dan. I tried to practice meditation and mindfulness, and that every moment was very special, and a moment of growth. And it's interesting because in the story, he meets a woman named Joy toward the end of the book, and she becomes very influential in his life. And it just so happens that I had that kind of moment when I went to my second college. I met my joy. My joy was my wife,
Hmm.
Diane. I met her in 1991 at the University of California, Irvine, UC Irvine. She was my joy. But it's interesting because I kind of took the path of the peaceful warrior like Dan did during my early college years with a guru, kind of an unseen guru, actually, um, who was helping me. And then, of course, I met Diane in 91, and she was my joy. So She came to me, Hercules, with a really vast background in spiritual studies, different religions, different spiritual traditions. She was into neo-theosophy, like with the I Am movement, and Elizabeth Clare Prophet, Theosophy, Rosicrucianism, and of course, Mr. Blessing, William L. Blessing, who was a mentor, a real important mentor to her from the age of 5 on, because he was a friend of the family. He was a friend of her grandfather's and then her father's. But he had a book that he put out called Votsa, Voice of the Seventh Angel, regarding Revelation, and he actually liked he actually liked Ellen G. White, it turns out. But Diane was raised kind of in a Seventh Day Adventist family or atmosphere, which they're vegetarian, no drinking, no smoking, pure lifestyle and everything like that. And here I was studying the Peaceful Warrior with vegetarianism and pure lifestyle. So when we met, it was perfect. When we met in 91, it was perfect. We just really, when we came together, we enhanced each other's lifestyles, our study and our lifestyle as well. So together we studied Theosophy, Rosicrucianism, excuse me, Rosicrucianism, Buddhism. We actually met Thich Nhat Hanh because we took a seminar with him at one of the Buddhist temples in the LA area. So we met Thich Nhat Hanh, and that was pretty amazing. Studied some Hinduism, of course, Buddhism, and then we took 3 children on. Her brother's wife, Diane's brother's wife, passed away and left 5 children, and her brother kind of collapsed. He has Parkinson's now. So we took the 3 youngest children. About 4 years into kind of, raising and stabilizing his 3 younger children in our home, we got a little burnt out and a little overwhelmed because they had a lot of needs, a lot of neglect. So I asked Diane one day, I said, Diane, where are those 2 big blue books? And she said, oh, I have no idea. So I searched for the 2 big blue books, and I found one of them, and she found the other later. And those were the Urantia book.
Hmm.
Yeah, she had enjoyed traveling and going to the reference sections to check out, the Urantia book. And her father wanted one of the Urantia books because he was interested. So Diane bought a book for her father, and her mother wanted to read the Urantia book that she had bought for him. He said, "I'm not going to share my Urantia book." So so she bought one for her mom. So actually she's a second generation Urantia book reader.
Just so
She
you
had
know, in case it comes up
Yeah.
again, the Urantia book folks are giving away Urantia books for free. They have them online where
Mm.
you can watch it, you can listen to it, and you can get a
Yeah.
hard copy of the book just for asking for it.
Yeah, that's fabulous. Yeah. Yeah, it's online too. Truthbook.com it's there in the fellowship, Urantia Book Fellowship. So she had those 2 books from her mother and father in the house when I moved in with her. And we studied the books starting in about 2011, really in depth. We became a part of the Urantia book community, and I eventually became president of the society, the Los Angeles Society of the Urantia book movement. And that was for about 2 years. So we were really studying the Urantia book and becoming a part of the community. I gave a bunch of workshops throughout the country, and that was really exciting. But it was interesting as we really began studying in depth in the Urantia book, we found a lot of correlations of concepts that matched with theosophical concepts, Swedenborgian concepts, of course, Rosicrucian, Buddhism and Hinduism. So that was kind of exciting. But it wasn't until we met you, Hercules, our really good friend, Hercules, that we started really seeing correlations in the Urantia book with the Greek gods and the Greek pantheon. And it was kind of exciting, to make those correspondences. And we found a number of them which matched really well. And, we confirmed it with the celestials and with our own higher selves, our intuition, our super consciousness, and made some really, really close parallels.
And I'm very honored to have inspired those explorations and what came in. So thank you so very much, and for your sharing them. I'm very honored. Um, and I guess as you take us down this journey, we'll get into that a little bit more later. I just wanted to add that uh, part of what I'm doing here, each of us has something that we're doing here, is to show that the cosmic spiritualities that were born of the neo-theosophies and the theosophy, in fact, are actually very old. People tend to
Mhm.
associate them with the New Age, and not
Yes.
only older than our concept of the New Age that appeared in this country and spread throughout the world, but they go back to antiquity. A
Mhm.
lot of the information and a lot of even the spirits that are involved in conveying this information and working with people have not changed since the Hellenistic era.
Mhm.
So that's part of the awareness that I'm trying to spread.
Yes. Well, yeah, you have to. I mean, that's where it all started, right? You know, uh, a lot of people consider that Pythagoras and some of those Ammonius Saccas and some of those early neo-theosophists, I guess you could call them. They they were pretty knowledgeable, pretty elevated. A lot of people and they had a lot of knowledge. And some scholars think that our current civilization is nowhere near advanced as those civilizations back then. I mean, there's an interesting video that I saw about the pyramids. They're really challenging the origin of the Great
Mhm.
Pyramid of Giza. And there's one guy that's really bucking the system, saying, it could be that the pyramids were actually inherited by the Egyptians, that they were built by earlier civilizations that were more advanced even than than the Egyptians.
Yeah, I've been looking into Egypt a lot lately. And I was a fan of the show Stargate. I don't know if you remember Stargate or
Oh yeah, Stargate.
Stargate.
Yeah, good
And
stuff.
Stargate introduced, of course, the Stargate, which is very similar to the concept of different shamanic worlds or astral worlds. So, as
Mhm.
Swedenborg visited and as other people
Yeah,
have visited, except it's science fiction-y and ancient astronauty.
right.
So I've begun an inquiry into that also, and we're pulling a program
Mhm.
together. So if you're a Stargate fan, you're welcome to be on that panel as well. I can just let you know when we're doing it. If you're free, you're more than welcome to join us.
Yeah, yeah, that's right, Hercules. And when you read the Urantia book, you come to understand that that really um, our particular evolution of this particular human race, this particular sphere of the earth called Urantia, that we are, according to the Urantia book, we are having our ascension career, our evolutionary career within the context of the seventh super universe. That we're actually coming up the rear, as far as super universes go. That there has, earlier ages, earlier epochs have already begun and already happened, a lot of them on a lot of levels. That we're kind of the last ones, and that our planet is fairly low down on the evolutionary scale. So it's like, you have celestial creators, administrators, governors, upholders that have been doing this for a long time, and what's to say that a lot of them have not incarnated on different planets and done a lot of different things, you know? So why couldn't there have been a lot of civilizations, that had this knowledge, way before we did. But I did want to touch because I think we're still kind of talking about my spiritual journey a little bit here.
Yes.
Yeah, so um, you mentioned the sixth revelation and the worldwide religion of love and Maitreya's magisterial mission. Well, they're all going on at the same time. Um, we've just my wife and I, our ministry was to kind of announce those programs, those celestial programs on earth, announce those, describe a little bit about them as much as we could discern at that time. Um, and then and then you know do what we could in our ministry to help promote that, or help in some way. So first, um, when we were about 2 years into our Urantia book study and our involvement in the Urantia book community in 2013, about 2 years after we started getting involved, um, we had an encounter. Actually, Diane had an encounter with the local universe father and the local universe mother. And she also had an encounter with Gabriel, Archangel Gabriel, who's also known as the bright and morning star. And then he has a consort, according to our knowledge, not necessarily in the Urantia book, but he has a consort called the Brilliant Evening Star. And these names are all in the Urantia book. Well, in 2017, see, because there was a movement, and there still is a movement in the Urantia book community about a correcting time, that we are in a correcting time where the Celestials are trying to help us balance things out that have kind of gotten out of balance. We're very, we're very advanced, so to speak, technologically, but yet morally, and the way we treat the earth and the way we treat others needs to kind of come up a little bit. So there was an effort by the Celestials to have one of their magisterial sons adjudicate the earth and intervene if necessary, which he is, to help us correct. So his name is Lord Maitreya, and he's the fifth Buddha to come. And there's so much to unpack. I'm not sure, Achilles, that correlates. It's so hard to.
Well, these conversations have been going on for a while, and they're going to continue as long as we're both
Yeah,
here and both
yeah.
interested in continuing. So these conversations, the information will unfold as it unfolds, and
All right,
some you'll share some more.
all right. I'm just trying to make the connections here about this, my spiritual journey. So they announced to us that Lord Maitreya on March 20th, 2017, they announced to us that Lord Maitreya was undertaking a magisterial mission, and that is still going. And he told us there was a special focus on the Middle East. And as you can see, the Middle East now is going through a lot of change. And
Yes.
we're just hoping that Lord Maitreya, we know that Lord Maitreya is working in that area too. And then I talked about the bright and morning star and the brilliant evening star. They're correlated to Gabriel. Archangel Gabriel is the bright and morning star, but he's also Hephaestus in the Greek. And the brilliant evening star is Aphrodite, his divine consort in the Greek, right?
Hmm.
So those two together started a program on March 20th, 2020. So 3 years after Lord Maitreya started his, they they began what is known as the worldwide religion of love. The point is that you have Gabriel, Hephaestus, also known as Sanat Kumara in Neo-Theosophy, the Ascended Master, the ninth dimensional Ascended Master, he and Aphrodite are working from the planet Venus, which is, according to our information, is the headquarters of our solar system. So they're working from Venus and working with the Earth too in this worldwide religion of love, where they're actually intervening. The Gabriel is trying to instill more divine truth in our minds and in our lives, and um, um, Mother Venus, Aphrodite, is trying to instill more divine love in our lives. So the magisterial sun, magisterial missions going on, excuse me, magisterial missions going on, the worldwide religion of love is going on, but there's one other program. It's called the Our Local Universe Father's 10-year plan. Our Local Universe Father is the equivalent of Zeus, an Olympian. The Local Universe Mother, who is his divine consort and co-sovereign, she is Hera. Okay, that's our Greek equivalent of the Local Universe
Mhm.
Father and Local Universe Mother. They're Olympians. They are the co-sovereigns or co-rulers of the local universe. Local universe being about 10 million inhabitable planets. A lot of different local universes in our seventh super universe, but these two are working with the Earth for the 10-year plan. And the 10-year plan is just simply, it's not probably simple, but it's just simply if you're on board with the father and the mother, Zeus and Hera, then they will be preparing a special place on Jupiter for all of those souls who are who make it, so to speak. You know, they master their time on Earth. They have behaved fairly well, I guess, according to the cosmic law. And this Jupiter, this place on Jupiter is one of Zeus's headquarters for our solar system. He actually reaches all the way down to our solar system from the local universe level. And it's interesting because in the Urantia book, they talk about the mansion worlds, that after you die, they don't get into too much reincarnation, but after you have this earth journey and you die, you have a time of soul sleep or transition, and then you head to the mansion worlds. Okay. So uh, I feel from the information I've gotten that Jupiter is where these mansion worlds are, right? So if you go according to the Urantia book, you make it to the mansion worlds if you do a good job, and then you're kind of purged. A lot of the dross, material dross, and the discrepancies that you accumulated in your mortal life kind of fall away, and then you continue on your ascension journey to the local universe level, super universe level, and then to paradise. So you have three different programs going on right now with the Olympians. And then, of course, the Titans have a role to play too that I have paralleled in the Urantia book. But it's basically this phase right now is the Urantia book phase. You know what I mean, Hercules?
Mhm.
So yeah, so I'm kind of seeing everything through the lens of the Urantia book at this time, you know, because it is interesting. They do give a description, you know, although albeit relatively general, of the celestial hierarchy. And the celestial hierarchy they lay out is it lends itself to Greek parallels, definitely.
Thank you. That explains a lot and it collects a lot. Tell me, are you familiar with Gnosticism? Have you studied the Gnostics?
The Gnostics, you mean the Greek Gnostics?
Yes, and the non-Greek, more modern Gnostics,
Oh, the more modern Gnostics.
and the ancient Gnostics as well.
Not really, to tell you the truth. I kind of know about some of the earlier Gnostics in the Greek that they were some of them were Stoics.
Yes, and to me, I just became really interested in Gnostics recently
Mm,
because I got a different picture of what they were doing.
mm,
Gnostics generally believe that the matter is evil,
mhm,
and then they have a series of gods. If they see the gods negatively, the gods are called archons, which means leader in Greek. Archondas is the person who comes first, who
mhm,
leads. And
mhm,
uh, a lot of Gnostics who view the gods negatively see that the creator god or the demiurge was a blind madman who's deluded into thinking that he's the origin of creation. And
mm,
he created these beings who are associated with the planetary spirits, and they capture souls and torment them.
mm,
So
mhm,
that's one extreme view. And then there's the other Gnostic view that there are pure um, gods who are all powerful and aren't shadow and corrupted, that are called aeons. And these aeons emanate from the monad, which is the one.
mm,
But still, they're the planetary gods, insofar as I'm concerned, the same way the Elohim of the neo theosophists. They're
mm.
talking
Yeah,
about the planetary spirits, the
yeah,
planetary gods.
yeah.
So, what I see in Gnosticism in all its forms is it's like standing in a wheel and looking at the world through various shades of opinion. And depending on whether you have a negative or a positive opinion where you are spiritually, and to the degree that you have one, that's how the universe will seem to you. And if you're a student of the law of attraction or the secret or manifestation, or psychology in terms of projection, you know that the universe is very much what you believe it is. If you believe
Mm,
that you live in an evil universe and that everybody's out to get you and your soul has been enslaved and you've been tortured, if you hold that belief, regardless of what's happened to you, you're going to interpret it that way and you're going to react to your own beliefs rather than to what's actually going on. And if you're
mhm,
someone who believes that everything is happy and everything's put there for your benefit, uh, and view the universe in that way, regardless of what happens to you and how negative it might be to somebody else, you're going to experience it as a positive and light type of thing. So after
mm,
studying Gnosticism, that's my conclusion. And it might be erroneous, but that's what I see from where I stand in the road right now. That Gnosticism's greatest lesson is that you connect the dots and you can rearrange the stars any way that your development allows. And
mhm,
the type of universe you create is similar to the type of universe that you live in, because you view the world in a particular way. And if you change your beliefs or your attitudes, the world you live in, even though it hasn't really changed, will be a different universe for you. And you'll experience different things.
mhm.
So, I'm not as familiar with the Urantia book as I am with many other systems of thought, but it occurs to me from talking to people that there's a more aeonic version of the gods. It's a much more positive thing, and that the
Yeah,
universe is there to support you and to help you, and that the powers to be want you to evolve and want you to return to the heavens and want you to
yeah.
be one of them. So that's on the more positive part of the spectrum.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the Urantia book is a friendly universe approach,
Hmm.
definitely. Yeah, friendly universe that actually they say in the Urantia book the one of the main concepts is of course it's called Urantia, the Urantia book, the name of our Earth. Um, but one of the main concepts in the Urantia book is that there is a celestial hierarchy, a hierarchy of angels, of celestial creators, administrators, governors, who assist directly in creature ascension, us as mortals, mortals and ascending creatures or evolutionary creatures. um, we are going up. We're created. According to the Urantia book, we are created here on these lowly spheres, these lowly levels. And what we are doing is we are trying to function through our interpretation of the will of God to ascend. And to ascend all of these different levels, of course, to eventually reunite with God the Father, who is a person in the Urantia book, actually
Mhm.
personal. We reunite with God the Father in paradise. And then after that, after we are embraced by God, we become finaliters, and we then serve in the super universes on the finite level. But we are ascending, but there are beings that are created in paradise or created on higher levels that are coming down to meet us, to work with us. So it's kind of like they help us, but when they have the experience of working with us, it helps them in their development too.
Mhm.
So it's friendly in that way. We're kind of meeting each other to help each other. And in that way, it's really friendly. But the Urantia book does say, kind of like the Theosophists say, that we are on this level, we are in a battle with our lower selves, with our animal selves, with our animal nature. And in order for us to ascend, we need to overcome, especially from the earth or Urantia, we need to overcome that animal tendency, that urge to give in to our animal desires. And when we move those away and overcome those, we make it to the mansion worlds. And then in the mansion worlds, more of that dross is eliminated so that we can go on. So yes, it is a friendly universe and we help each other, but there are some things that we have to do. There is an animal nature. There is a kind of negativity there implied in that animal nature. And then there's one other thing that's kind of negative, Hercules, is if you don't make it, you get annihilated.
In the Urantia book?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
The if you don't make it, there are there are councils on the super universe level. We're talking like mansion worlds and local universe level is kind of what we call Morantia, or the soul development level. When you get up to the spirit levels of development, you get into super universe levels of functioning, right? Of development. And there are on the super universe level, say like our seventh super universe, we have a panel of judges. There are three of them called the Ancients of Days. We know in the Bible the Ancient of Days.
Hmm.
There are three Ancients of Days who rule a super universe, and they're on a council. And the recording angels and all the angels that work with us on a regular basis and recording beings, they take all of our information up to them. And if we haven't made it, we get annihilated as if we never were.
So it's not like many other systems of belief where you get left back and you just have to take the same class over and over again until you finally get it. Here, if you don't get it
Oh,
a certain amount of time, you no longer exist. Am I understanding you correctly?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like like reincarnation purges us, and we learn our lessons and everything through balancing our karma. It's not like that. There's not really a system of reincarnation in the Urantia book, although there is transmigration of the soul, where
Hmm.
but it's kind of an upward progression of the soul that and we get different bodies as we go up. But no, there's not a try again. But I will say the Urantia book, it spells out the friendly within the friendly universe context that we have a lot of helpers that are helping us. So
Hmm.
it's kind of like it's kind of really hard to fail. You have to kind of work at it, you know what I mean? Because like each person has a guardian angel, you know. We have what's called a thought adjuster in the
Okay.
Urantia book. I don't know if you've heard that term, thought adjuster.
from you and from Diane and from Nick Curto and his guests. Yes, I've heard it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So yeah, so you have a thought adjuster, which is actually a fragment, a pre-personal fragment of deity. Because we think of in the Urantia book, we think of God the Father as a person, as a personality that I mentioned earlier. But before he began to function on the personal level or finite level of reality, um, he was called the first source and center. And the first source and center is kind of the deity that sets all of reality into motion. Even though it's infinite, it sets finite reality into motion. But to do that, he has to personalize. And when he personalizes, he becomes God the Father or God. You know what I mean?
So, in terms of your mission
Yeah.
and your spiritual development, what is your task aside from informing people about all these initiatives that are going on and how to work
Mhm.
best with the other side to fulfill your progression and reach your true potential and not get destroyed? What is there anything else specific to that? Like, is there anything you're required to do, or you write? So is it to write and give people the information via book, or start a group, or what type of things do you think you're doing?
Yeah, so I just wanted to just finish up that really quick concept of the thought adjuster.
Sure.
So the thought adjuster is the fragment of the first source and center. It's the pre-personal God. So it's like an eternal part of deity that we have within us that helps us to adjust our thoughts and to kind of get with the program if we get off track. It's kind of like a super guardian angel of sorts. So we have a lot of, so it is a friendly universe. There are some difficulties and negativities, but we have so much help that it's hard to fail. We have a lot of what are called mercy credits in the Rancha
Okay.
book. So it's definitely a positive approach. And I like that, and I like the idea that's a little different from theosophy. I like the idea that that there is a personal God that we can connect with personally. I think theosophy talks a lot about the immutable, impersonal source of all that is. But the Urantia book says God personalizes, and we can have a personal relationship with God. And I kind of like that. I've tried to get in touch with these celestial personalities. And what I do, like for my own personal practice, Hercules, is for my own personal development. Like I wrote a paper one time and shared it with the Urantia book community that a lot of our progression as a global society and even in the universe with the concept of that we are a part of evolving deity within our super universe finite level is that it comes first through us. The improvement of the whole starts with us individually. So that's one of the things that I do to help humanity, to help the globe, to help the finite universe. Is I try to perfect myself and be a better vehicle for God. And when I have contact with people, I take what I do in my practices and I try to share that the positivity. I'm kind of like a glass full type guy. So
Me
what I've
too.
done, Hercules, what I've done is like you, I've set up a temple in my home. You know, we were Diana and I were Maitreya Great Tao, and they have temples and holy houses. Um, we inherited well, actually we bought a couple of their altars when they were closing a holy house. So we bought it. But then we had ceremonies in our home, and our home became a Tao Holy Temple registered in Taiwan. And like
Wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome. I remember you telling me that when it happened. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, we actually went to Taiwan and we met Grandmaster Wong, who's the head of the Maitreya Great Tao, Lord Maitreya, fifth Buddha. Um, we met him. Well, actually, it was set up that Diane and I were to have a private audience with him to talk to him about our situation of our temple. So we flew to Malaysia on the same plane with him. He was flying from Taiwan. We flew from LA to Malaysia and met him there and had a 2 hour private audience with
Oh,
him.
wow.
Yeah, and that's when he set up our home as a holy temple for Maitreya Great Tao. But since Diane passed away and I've moved here to Prescott, I've set up a temple that is kind of Tao-like in nature for Lord Maitreya and Lamu, the Universal Mother, but it's also a temple for Zeus and Hera. It's the temple of the Heavenly Father and Mother, Zeus and Hera. So I'm actually looking at my altar right now, and I have Zeus on the left and Hera on the right, and I got Maitreya and Lamu in the middle. So it's kind of like a composite thing. And
My
then
house too.
also,
I have
do you?
altars all over the place. My house is one collection of altars. The gods live here. They hang out.
It's fabulous. I mean,
Hmm.
why not? Whoever said don't worship those graven images, they're missing out because these statues. I mean, look here, Hercules. I got Athena right here.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it's one of those resin statues,
Hmm.
And
Those are
I've
nice.
got,
We have a collection of those too. The resin
yeah,
statues. Hmm.
yeah, those nice ones. I've got, of course, I've got Zeus. This is one of my favorites. I like this one.
Hmm. With his thunderbolt.
Yeah. So I have a temple to Zeus and Hera, who are also known in the Urantia book as the local universe father and local universe mother. Okay, because they're Olympians, right? Um, and I also have a chapel that I've set up for Gabriel and Aphrodite, um, to for their worldwide religion of love. I focus a lot of my time in my chapel, um, to pray to Gabriel and Aphrodite to help our earth. And I also also talk to them as much as I can, get insight, pray for everybody, and meditate. And I work on my own spiritual development in those moments and my relationship with them and Zeus and Hera. So personally, that's what I do. I try to improve myself to improve the whole. And that's kind of a philosophy in that way. But I also was the, excuse me, I was the president of the Urantia Book Society, UBLA, Urantia Book Los Angeles Society. And my work with them was doing workshops and, of course, promoting the Urantia book, promoting Urantia book concepts, friendly universe, angels all around us. Get in
Hmm.
touch with your celestial helpers, connect on a personal level with God the Father, with Zeus and Hera, so on and so forth. Um, but also, what I was trying to do during that time, Hercules, was I was trying to help them understand that number one, they have a relationship with the gods, a personal
Yes,
relationship.
I believe that very strongly too.
Yeah, yeah. I was trying to help them understand that they have a personal relationship with the gods. And then number two, what I was trying to get them in touch with was a pure and holy lifestyle to accompany their study.
Hmm.
And most of my lectures and my workshops were on that not only study, but perfect yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically so that you can not only succeed in your ascension career, um, but that you can be a shining light, a shining light for God and the celestials, you know? And one of the quotes, I have a quote here from the Urantia book, Hercules, that I use a lot because I don't. One of the things I was also trying to convey to the Urantia book community through my writings, um, and now through my book that I'm writing, is that even though the Urantia book is kind of seen as as coming from a Christian point of view,
Hmm.
because there is the Trinity, there's the Trinity concept, and then of course part 4 is the life and teachings of Jesus. But I wanted them to know that not only is there God the Father, but that there are gods, right?
Hmm.
Just like in the Greek pantheon, that we can have a personal, ongoing, and continual relationship with. You know what I mean? Just like the Greeks did. Just like the Greeks. The gods were in their lives completely every
Yes.
moment. They were talking to them, they were consulting with them, giving them offerings, telling them that they love them, so on and so forth. And I was trying to get the Urantia book community in touch with that. So, but this is one of the quotes that I always used when if they say, "Oh, there's only one God," and it's monotheistic and all this, I say, well, listen to what the Urantia book says in paper 32, section 5, paragraph 1. All right. There is a great and glorious purpose in the march of the universes through space. All of your mortal struggling is not in vain. We are all part of an immense plan, a gigantic enterprise, and it is the vastness of the undertaking that renders it impossible to see very much of it at any one time and during any one life. We are all part of an eternal project which the gods are supervising and outworking.
There you
There's
go.
gods. See, there it is right there. Gods. The whole marvelous and universal mechanism moves on majestically through space to the music of the meter of the infinite thought and the eternal purpose of the first great source and center.
The monad. That is beautiful.
The,
Ena. In Greek, they talk about enosis or henosis, as it's pronounced in English, which means the joining with the one, the yoking with the one, the yoga, if you would, with the one. And part of my understanding was you can't not be part of the one.
right, right. Mm-hmm,
And I believe that we're already perfect, that
mm-hmm,
somehow we're dreaming this or we're in these mental states where this becomes possible.
mm-hmm.
But I've always felt that we're one with the universe. A book that I helped write that arose from one of these shows that I do, conversation over like over half a decade, I think nearly 7 years conversation, evolved into a book that was published by Llewellyn. And
Mm,
it's called Theurgy Seven Paths to Divine Connection.
mm.
And in it, I wrote a chapter called I Was a Teenage Theurgist, where I talked about my own spiritual path and how it led to theurgy. And theurgy means divine works, like
Yeah,
theosophy means divine
yes,
insights or divine wisdom.
yeah.
And I showed how, without really knowing what I was doing, as a child, I jury rigged my own system of anosis or henosis and started practicing theurgy. And then later on, as I learned things, I refined it and fine tuned it and evolved it. But I don't think we're ever abandoned without uh, our source, without our connection. And sometimes ignorance is the path because you don't know if something's possible or not possible. So you attempt it and you discover that, you were always had it all along. So
Mm-hmm,
I never pursued the path of being one with the universe or being one with nature because I've always felt that I might not understand my connection, but my connection's there. Everything is one
mm-hmm,
with nature. So it's not even an ego thing where you think you're somebody better or more evolved or more anything. It's that everything is connected, everything is one
yeah,
already, and it's just we haven't woken up to that fact yet, and we haven't realized what that means. And if we did,
yeah.
we would live life, differently.
You know, that's one of the main thing when I first studied theosophy, started studying theosophy, Hercules. That was one of the that was one of the concepts that really gosh, it really opened me up to a whole new world, you know. I was studying the secret doctrine, you know, Helena Blavatsky, and of course we're going to
Hmm.
have the show soon,
Yes,
which
next
I'm
week.
very excited about. When I first started studying, I can remember my parents driving me. I think it was a couple years after I started studying Way of the Peaceful Warrior. Oh no, it was after I met Diane, like right after I met Diane, because she introduced me to theosophy. I was in the back seat of my parents' car, and I was just addicted to the secret doctrine, you know, at that time.
Hmm.
And and you know, I the concept that just totally blew me away, which is in the Urantia book, the concept that totally blew me away was the concept of the grand man.
Hmm.
That you know, that we are all a part of the grand man. You know, we are like a little cell or a little atom or a little corpuscle, you know, in the body of the grand man, and that the idea of universal brotherhood really really stuck with me. That, you know, if you're a part of the body and you're causing problems in the body, the whole body's going to suffer, you know. So that's what I was talking about. Individual development is so important. You know, because we're all connected. We're everything
Hmm.
is connected within that, and that concept is in the Urantia book. That concept, as I mentioned earlier, is the concept of the supreme being. The supreme being is the grand man. It's the same exact concept. The supreme being is the deity. It's the deity within which all evolution takes place on the finite level.
Hmm.
And it's kind of like the oversoul, you know, the oversoul concept too, that all of these souls are part of the oversoul, and that everything we do individually affects the whole supreme being, or the grand man. But the interesting thing I really liked about the concept of the supreme being in the Urantia book is that the supreme being is an evolving deity. It's also evolving, you know, as we evolve. I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, we're all connected, man. Even though you know, we're gonna have Thanksgiving and we're gonna be like maybe, you know, having angry political discussions with our family members. And it's like, oh my God, I'm really connected to this person. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty amazing.
we get
Yeah.
to see the different sides of the prism. And sometimes the things we disagree with and the things we react negatively to teach us more about ourselves than we feel comfortable with. So it's very interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people ask me like, how deep is my resonance with the mythical Hercules that has survived in
Hmm.
song and story? And I always tell them, as far as I'm concerned, I'm Hercules here doing this now, and
Wow.
that's how I
Fabulous.
see it. Because I've legally changed my name to Hercules, and my birth name
Hmm.
has been translated as Hercules. So
Oh.
I've used the name more than I've used my birth name throughout my life.
Hmm.
And the resonance is very, very deep. And it awoke early in the days of sword and sandal cinema with Steve Reeves and Alan Steele and all
Wow.
these other muscle men having adventures. And
Yeah.
the cartoon, The Mighty Hercules,
Love it.
those woke it up. And it hasn't left me. And again, it isn't a matter of pleasing anything or worshiping it necessarily or uh, pleading to it. It's like this says more about my soul than anything else. This is where
Hmm.
my resonance struck. This is what awokened in me my desire to fulfill a higher purpose and help me understand what the higher purpose is. So that's kind of how I view it. And I've noticed with other people too who associate with a particular god or goddess or even archetype, if they're psychologically minded, their lives take on a different clarity than if you just see yourself as a cog in a machine or your career or something like that. Those identifications will take you to a certain place. But if you identify
Mhm.
with the divine, and again, you're willing to allow for the fact that everyone is the divine, not just you, uh,
Yeah.
then life becomes richer and you're connected
Yeah.
to your source. And it's like
Wonderful.
flowing as part of a river that is lost in the mists of time and continues into the misty and unknown future. And you're part of this unfolding drama, whatever the bigger story happens to be, or whatever the thousand stories happen to be. It's like you're very much a part of this, and what you do is important. And you're part of an endless variation to a timeless tale that has always been
Mm.
told in different languages with different names, but you're very much a part of that.
Yes, absolutely, Hercules. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. And you have to have courage. You have to have courage to embrace it. You know, you have to buck the system and just say, I feel like I'm divinely connected, and this is who I am, and I'm going with it, and I'm going to express myself, and be a vehicle to express the gods as well. I legally changed my name to Ammon,
Hmm.
like you did with Hercules. I felt that strongly, like I was connected in an ancient way to the gods, and of course today, because we're living in today,
Yes.
so my ministry is developing. These programs are kind of going on while my ministry is developing, because I've taken a drastic change here with Diane passing away. But I am writing my book, The League of Azure Blue Angels, because like you said, I'm kind of in a new phase where I'm connecting in a really strong way with a group of angels called the League of Azure Blue Angels, who, by the way, um, are under the leadership of Hestia, I'm told, and Gabriel too. Gabriel and Hestia, you know.
Fire spirits.
Yeah, yeah.
We're nearing the end of today's conversation, but the conversation has just begun and it'll unfold through various programs. And this program, I believe we need a part two to take us to your current understanding and then to start figuring how we can help you with your mission and fulfilling my mission and the missions of everybody who's involved. And again,
Thank you.
it's going to be very different, but again, we're here doing this at this particular point in time. So that's what we'll do. How can people find you to learn more about you? And you're a very creative individual. You've produced a
Mm.
lot of music. You produced a lot of videos. How can people find this? And also to tell you that our Cerulean, uh, our Azure and Cerulean Angel program is going to be dedicated henceforth to the memory of Diane.
Oh, thank you very much, Hercules. That's very sweet. Thank you. Thank you. She'll love that. You know, uh, thank you. That's so kind. Hercules, she called my name last night.
Oh,
It was,
great.
oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. It was 4 o'clock in the morning, and she, in her voice, as if she were just in that room, she said, Michael, just like that, woke me up 4 o'clock in the morning. And it was just amazing. She's been here really with me, Hercules, just really inspiring me. So thank you for that. That's very kind of you. I really appreciate that.
I'm honored and my pleasure. And she's appeared to me twice, once in dream and once as a glowing light. So,
Really?
yeah, we will speak about that in a private conversation.
Well, she loved you very much, Hercules, and she really loved the conversations she had with you. When you would call as a friend, she really loved that.
Same
Yeah.
here. I did as well.
Well, thank you. Yes, I'm a very creative individual. Um, we have a YouTube channel that we created, Diane and myself. It's called Michael and Diane Duncan. Diane with two N's. Dunkin is Dunkin. So Michael and Diane Dunkin. We have a lot of our celestial team meetings that we did, my artwork and songs. I have 5 albums, spiritual song albums, plus an EP that are that have been released to the public. They're on downloading and streaming sites like Amazon, iTunes, Spotify. Just just type Reverend Michael Dunkin into the search, and a lot of my stuff will come up. Of course, I'm writing a book, it'll be finished probably within the next couple months, called The League of
Awesome.
Azure Blue Angels. Yeah, working hard on that. And then if you want to email me, it's michaelduncan1@hotmail.com. And again, that's DUNKN, like Dunkin' Donuts, michaelduncan1@hotmail.com. And I just wanted to give a shout out because we weren't able to get into it too much, but I wanted to give a shout out to the Titans in the Urantia book, which we'll get to later, because we got to the Zeus and Hera, the
Right,
Olympians,
the Olympians. And do you have the
but they're
primordials as well, older than the Titans?
oh,
Oh,
the
awesome.
primordial.
Yes, the
Oh, okay.
primordials were the generation before the Titans, and then you had abstractions, as far as we know.
I know who they are.
Good.
They're in the Urantia book, the primordials.
I look forward to learning more about that. And thank you very
Awesome.
much, Ammon, and we will be speaking in the next few days. Be well, and thank you for being on the show.
You too. Thank you, Hercules. Thank you for the dedication for Diane. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. And thanks to everybody who listened. Until next time, this is us wishing you joyous journeys, amazing adventures, and happy Thanksgiving. Take care,
Happy
everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving. God bless. Take
Thank
care.
you, and say hi to Alex for me.
I will indeed. All right.
Okay, good night.
Good night.